In 2022, I done my very first GameCube PicoBoot installation. Now in the year 2024, the Pico 2 is out and I want to see if it'll work in this GameCube that I bought from Japan via Sendico. So there are a few things different with this, so let's see if it works. So to save you some time, I'm just going to say no, it does not work, unfortunately. Now I think it's because the PicoBoot is actually designed for the 2040 chip, whereas this is the 2350, so I'm just going to go through the new installation because it's been updated. Now you don't have to ground some of the points, so I'm just going to kind of go over the general install. Now this ribbon I got here off of AliExpress for I think a $5. Now again, I'm just going to save you some time, and for whatever reason I could not get this to work even when I changed over Picos. I'm not sure if it's because the installation changed, some of the pins are different, whatever. But I got all soldered in and then tried it, and unfortunately it didn't work. So if you do use this ribbon, just be mindful of your install because there's 0.6 and 0.7 that in the older install they needed to be bridged, but in this one now they don't. So I'm not sure if that's going to affect anything, but look, I'm going to run through it anyway. So there are 100 different tutorials on YouTube to take apart a GameCube, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. There are 4 screws at the bottom. Once you've unscrewed those, you've got 16, cut the day maths there, 16 screws on the inside, and then the optical drive just lifts out. So once the optical drive is out, the next thing you need to remove is this heatsink. Now you can leave your GameCube running for maybe 15-20 minutes playing some games to warm it up, and that should loosen it, I've heard. But I use the trusty old hairdryer here, and I've not got a pair of pliers to save my life, so I use these flesh cutters. This does get very hot. Obviously it's a heatsink, so it's for absorbing heat, but Jesus Christ, just watch your fingers if you use a heat gun on a hairdryer. So when I was using the ribbon here, all you were meant to do anyway was line up the pins and solder them in. So after, like, it's very fine soldering, so you'd need to kind of be a bit careful. I didn't think it's really a beginner's gig, but by all means try it. I got everything soldered in, I checked the continuity and it was all fine, it seemed. So I booted it up and then I got this error message. So it means body something, power supply is off, the instructions, whatever that means, I don't know. That's some website translated that for me. I don't know exactly what it means, but either way, it didn't work. So I plugged in the optical drive and then it took me to this screen. So this is telling me that I need to set the calendar. So it should have booted directly to Swiss, which in this case it did not. So I know the install didn't work. So it's actually at this point where I just changed back to a 2040 chip. This is a 16 meg, just like a generic one off the AliExpress for like £3. I know they're all cheap, but like this is a 16 meg one. So, and I followed just the general guide on their GitHub to install this. And I was confident with this now, so I've kind of tidied everything up, and it has booted into Swiss through the SD to SP2 board underneath. So now we're going to boot up some games. So everything seems to be running fine so far. Now one of the updates for the 2022 install is actually the SD to SP2 board itself. This is the SD card reader that goes into the second serial port underneath. This went from version 1.4 to 2.0, so bigger number means bigger whatevers, so it was actually is meant to run faster. Now I didn't really notice much of a difference, so I think maybe later on down the line I might do a comparison just to see if it does. But apparently the 2.0 is meant to read and buffer quicker for the SD card. But either way, if you get the 1.4 or the 1. Whatever and the 2, you'll get pretty much the same result. It might load a bit faster, but I'd say it'd only be maybe a second, if that. It might not even be noticeable. But here's me jamming out on some Tony Hawk 3. Absolutely love this game. Let's check this out. So this was a similar problem with the original one, where it would say that there was an invalid or a corrupt file. I found the way to kind of bypass this is just to exit, go back in, and then it should kind of boot. And then it's just as simple as that. I've never had any problems with corrupt or invalid files. Basically just, you know, the whole turn it back off and back on again. So I am going to leave it there for today's video. Now this is a great installation. I don't think it's a beginner's mod, but I'd say it's intermediate and it's definitely worth trying. So let me know down below, have you installed this? Have you got the Raspberry Pi Pico 2 to work? Please let me know down below. I would love to see the PicoBoot get updated to support the Pico 2. Now there's a video here, please think about clicking on this. If no, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.